Raiders Retro Reviews, where today we're going to be doing something a little unusual. No board games for you tonight, but instead we're going to be looking at something a bit different. We're still going to be raiding that attic, but beyond the dusty cobwebs, the lost valley of the dinosaurs, and escape from Atlantis. We're going to be checking out pop-up books. Anyone who's seen my channel before should know I'm a bit of a fan of board games with unusual gimmicks and clever mechanisms, so it should come as no big surprise that I'm also a fan of paper engineering and clever pop-up mechanisms. And of course, I love all things spooky and creepy. So this series of pop-up books by Keith Moseley is a perfect storm for me. Now, of course, there are a lot of pop-up books with creepy, spooky themes on the market, but these really speak to my heart, or what's left of it. The illustrations are beautiful in a macabre way, in a form that's quite unusual for children's books. There's definitely a lot more blood and decapitations than your usual fare for kiddies, and that's what makes me love it so much. I was maybe a bit of an unusual child, but obviously not that unusual, since there seems to be a whole series of books for boys like me. Unlike some spooky pop-up books, which are far more cartoony, these have a realism and a grit to them that really captures the soul and fires the imagination. So, without further ado, let's take a look at one of the books.
The Door Under the Stairs, a spooky pop-up book. This is one of a series of 4 spooky pop-up books which was created by Keith Moseley. This is one of the later ones. The 2 earlier ones, The Things in Mouldy Manor and The Ghosts of Creepy Castle, came out in 1988. This one and Some Bodies in the Attic came out in 1990. It was published by Carnival. Really nice series of books these. They've got some really good pop-up mechanisms in them. I really love mechanisms and gimmicks, like you might have seen in some of my board game reviews, so it's a no-brainer that I like these kind of mechanisms as well. Beware, you'll quiver and quake when you explore the cobweb-covered places in this ghoulishly clever pop-up book. Be prepared to come face to face with all sorts of creepy, crawly creatures who are waiting to greet you. Enter, if you dare. Now, interestingly, unlike the first 2 in the series, which were just basically short stories, this one is all in rhyme. This one and Some Bodies in the Attic are both poems, really. They rhyme, which is different from the first 2. Gives it a nice little additional spooky flavour. Really like these, worth picking up if you can find them or get them. They're pretty cheap if you keep a lookout on eBay. If you buy the first ones you see, you might end up paying about £30 or £40. If you keep a lookout, if you put a watch list, if you put these on your eBay watch list, you can get them for around £5 to £8 though. Let's take a look at The Door Under the Stairs. The Door Under the Stairs. Design and paper engineering by Keith Moseley. Illustrations by Andy Everitt-Stewart. And these things are pretty gruesome illustrations, really, for children's books. And that's one of the reasons why I particularly like them. Nobody comes down here at all anymore. There are cobwebs and weird things all over the floor. But if you should happen to somehow arrive, there's no way you'd ever get back up alive. See, keep close. What's in this barrel we should keep out? Oh, there is a bearded skeleton, bearded one-eyed skeleton in the barrel. And we've got coffin here. It says, do not open this panel. We open the panel. There is a zombie skeleton rising from the coffin. Really nice little mechanism there. Make that pop up. You can see there's the monster through the door. In fact, we can see it on the next page. There are noises at night. A mouse or a rat slithering, scratching, and odd things like that. It could be the wind or a noise in the drains, but it sounds even more like the clanging of chains. It's probably this guy here. You can see this, what is presumably a ghost with his chains here. Let's see if we pull this tab, what happens to him. Oh, his head comes clean off. He's definitely a ghost. And if you look at that neck stump, very meaty and juicy. Not really child appropriate, but if you were a kid like me who absolutely loved monsters and things like that, then you would love this. Cupboard here, do not open. Let's see what happens when we open what we shouldn't. Oh, there is a skull hanging in a hangman's noose, which pops down out of this open doorway here. Pretty cool. Whoa. As soon as we open this, a hand reaches out and grabs us. That's a bit spooky. For years they've been hiding and waiting until the time is just right and it's spooky and still. Then moaning and groaning and shuffling about, the ghosties and ghoulies begin to creep out. Well, this one's definitely coming out of its box. What else have we got in here? Here is an Egyptian mummy sarcophagus. What happens here? Whoa, there is, mummy comes out and then it flips over and it seems to have a nice little pet spider. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to go through here, I think, into the surgery. Let's see what happens in there. Big spider coming out of the book. They hope you will come down exploring one day. They need a fresh body like you who will stay to help Dr. Frankenstein as he prepares his latest experiment under the stairs. Here's our ghost from earlier, Dr. Frankenstein. So here is Dr. Frankenstein's monster on the table, wired up to things. We've got all these beakers and flasks everywhere. We've got an exit, but the exit looks like it is well and truly locked. We are not going anywhere in a hurry. Let's see the shopping list that Dr. Frankenstein has got. Needs one left foot, blue eyeball, 2 kneecaps, and a belly button. Just looks the other way as he's got that. And unfortunately, I think those things are all going to come from you, dear reader. For you see, his new monster is missing some bits. And they're all pretty sure you have something that fits. Here is Frankenstein on his table, and just like some bodies in the attic, the last page here has got this big pop-up face, which this one, the eyes kind of move, the mouth definitely moves, but unlike some bodies in the attic, there's no opening and closing of the eyes, which I really like in the Dracula vampire one that's in that other book. If you haven't seen it, check out the other video for some bodies in the attic, well worth taking a look at. Really like these books. The illustrations, blood dripping from a severed head, are the kind of things that if you were a kid like me, you would absolutely love.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little peek at this spooky series of books. That's all for now, but if you have recommendations for me for other pop-up books, please let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And who knows what else we'll find in amongst the board games when we're raiding that attic. We'll see you next time on Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.